in my opinion. I mean, that's keeping the general definition aside. In practically speaking, you do different things in that position. So the past few weeks has mostly explaining that and sharing our experience of what it means to us, and
Okay.
how to prepare, how to prepare a portfolio even if you don't have experience, the tips you need to get started, how to put yourself out there, those kind
Perfect.
of.
Wow.
Yeah,
I definitely missed a lot.
yeah, yeah. And I think this is the first workshop we're going to be doing. So, yay to you. This is the first workshop, and I'm really hoping for many more workshops because I think coding is something that doesn't need to be talked about a lot. Mostly has to be
Mhm.
done. So,
Exactly.
yeah, that's it.
It's
I think
11:10. Africans will always be Africans. This our color like that. Get it, God be doing.
let's edit that part out of the video, please.
All right, guys, let's get started. Once again, blessing Nico. I'm so happy to be here, and I really do thank Chloe for having me here today. I've always wanted to be a part of this. Unfortunately, one thing or the other, I've not had the time to attend the past sessions, but I'm happy to be here today, and I believe that we have more and more amazing sessions to come. This is just the beginning. All right, let's dive straight into what we are going to be looking at today. All right, for our agenda, we are going to be looking at what is vibe coding tips and best practices, how to write effective AI prompts, limitations of vibe coding, and then we'll have a little practice scenario, just something small to, you know what they say, it cannot just be all theory. I believe that the best way to learn is to actually practice, and then if time permits us, we're going to have our Q&A session. All right, now when Lois first got to me concerning this platform that he's trying to create, this community that he's trying to build, I was so happy about it, because back then when we just got into tech, it was really difficult. It was really difficult to, meet other techies like yourself. It's not really quite easy to gain access into such communities where you get to meet others that are experienced, or even others that are still just getting into the tech showbiz, if I may say. It's really difficult to have a community where you can meet others, those that are above you, those that are below you, those that are the same level at you, to share experiences, to share challenges, and all that. So I believe that this is a very, 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 very good initiative. And kudos to you, Loven. Yeah, it's been amazing. And then again, when he asked me to do a presentation, man, I could not think of any other thing to talk on, but about one thing that has really, really helped me a lot, which is how AI is powering developers today. Now, we are looking at vibe coding today. What exactly is vibe coding? What exactly is vibe coding? Oops, sorry. Okay. Now, vibe coding is a programming technique where you describe what you want to create using natural language and have an AI generate a code for you. You can vibe code with purpose built AI app builders like Lovable or Replete to build apps, but you can just as easily use vibe coding with some AI chatbots like Claude or ChatGPT. Now, what are we saying? Back then, if you had to create, if you had to build something, if you had to write a script, you have to go through the troubles of writing the code from scratch, or you have to think about, oh my goodness, how am I going to go about this? How am I going to start this? How am I going? It takes a lot to actually have even a single script running and it giving you a result that you actually need. So if you even wanted to build something as small as, I mean, something very simple, you'd see that it's taking you days to actually get that done. But today, we are living in the 21st century and AI is powering the world already. Why not take advantage of that? Like they say, work smart and not hard. So since we are in the 21st century and AI is powering the world, it is very, very, I think this is something that we all should take advantage of. So if you were to write, if you were to build or create something nowadays, you don't actually have to go through the struggles of writing the code from scratch. I mean, you can just use an AI language. You can use an AI tool, sorry. You can use an AI tool to make it way easier for you. You find yourself using something, you find yourself something that could take you days or months to create. You can actually take that down to hours to create. And this is something that has actually helped me a lot. It's something that has actually helped me a lot. I remember back then when I started my tech journey, when we used to write HTML codes, CSS, and all that. You write something as little as even a hello world, and you're so excited. And then when you see these big tech guys that are creating projects, and you're looking at it as if, oh my goodness, these people are geniuses. These people are, I mean, they're from another planet. They're like aliens. But today, these things are very, very simple. You can actually get them done by yourself. I remember back then when we used to start small, back then, even in secondary school, when we got introduced to Pascal and even writing HTML codes and all the like. Today we have really, 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 really evolved. The world is evolving, and you can actually take advantage of vibe coding to learn more programming languages. I, for one, I got to learn Python. I got to write, I got to create projects in Python, write scripts in Python using vibe coding. So this is something that has really helped me a lot, and I'm so happy to share this with you guys. So I feel like this is something that we all should take advantage of. We should really, really take advantage of. Now there are AI app builders. For example, we have Lovable, Replete that you can use to build apps fast and easy, not going through the struggles of writing the code from scratch. And you can also use simple chatbots like Claude or ChatGPT. ChatGPT is my personal favorite, anyways, not being biased. Okay, now let's move to vibe coding tips and best practices. Now, if you want to be successful in vibe coding, here are some little tips and best practices that you should actually put in place. Now, the first one on my list, you have to define your vision and plan. Of course, if you wanted to build a house, you not just go and dive into digging the foundation, or just buying materials here and there. You actually have to get I think it's an architect they call to actually plan it for you. The easier the plan, the better. So you want to clearly outline what you want to build and how it should work. Then the clearer the plan, the easier it will be for you to get what you want. So, firstly, you want to define your vision and plan. You want to clearly state it out. You want to clearly write it out. You can as well use there are online tools where you can actually define your vision, define your plan, because the clearer it is for you, the clearer it will be to actually see this being put live. Okay, the next part, we have incremental and iterative approach. Now you want to break down complex projects into smaller, manageable tasks. You want to focus on one aspect of the code at a time, test and refine. All right. So back then, if you wanted to create, if you were working on a project and you were creating it from scratch, of course you want to write out, you want to outline everything, you want to break it down into smaller pieces. Excuse me, you want to break it down into smaller pieces. Of course, it's a big project that you want to create. You have the project, you have what you want to design in your mind, but you cannot just go about doing it all without breaking it down. So you actually have to break it down into smaller pieces. Now, vibe coding, of course, you're communicating with an AI. And I always say this, no matter how smart AIs are, they will remain robots. I usually say this, the computer is just what a human has actually, the computer is just giving you what you're telling it. You get the computer always, a robot will always remain a robot, and a human will always remain a human. So you do not expect that. You do not expect that. A robot is as intelligent as you are. So you actually have to break this down, make it into smaller, less complex pieces, manageable tasks, and you target them as you go. So you have to break this down, smaller pieces, smaller tasks, and then you handle each small task as you go. All right. And then one very important aspect of vibe coding is prompting. So you want to enter specific prompts. Provide precise instructions to the AI for the best results. Be very specific about every detail to get the best results. Do not assume. Now, vibe coding is all about working with prompts, you're entering prompts, you're working on a project with an AI, you're telling it, hey, I want to get this done, I want this, I want that. You have to be very, 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 very precise. You have to be very, very precise. Do not assume that, I mean, it's a robot, I mean, it's smart, so it should automatically get what I'm trying to say, or it should automatically understand me. No, you have to be precise with your instructions. Now, vibe coding, it solely depends on the prompts you're actually giving. If you're expecting a result, you already know what you want in mind. It is best to actually clearly put this out there in a very, very specific prompt. So if you're writing out a prompt to say, okay, I want to create probably a an app that is going to plan my daily activities or something. You want to state it out clearly. Say, hey, on Mondays, this, or Tuesdays, this. You have to be really, really precise, because if you're not precise with your instructions, remember, whatever you ask an AI is going to give you an answer. So if you're not precise with your instructions, you're going to get results that you were not looking for. Okay, and the next tip is testing and feedback. So you want to continuously test the generated code and refine prompts based on the outcomes. So you're communicating with an AI, you're having a project that you're working on, so you're sending in your prompts, you're getting your results. At every level, when you're getting the results, you have to continuously be testing. You send in your prompt, you get the results, you get the generated code or the results. You have to test. You have to test. Do not assume that, I mean, it's an AI. It should be that smart enough. I don't think it's going to have any bug in its code or something. No, you have to test at every level. And when you test, if you're not getting the results that you were looking for, you work on your prompts. And that's what we mean by refining your prompts. You have to work on your prompt. So if you get a result that you were not looking for, you go back, refine your prompt, send it in, and then you probably get another result. You have to as well test that result, check it if that's what you were looking for. If that's not what you were looking for, you refine your prompt again, send it in, and then see what you're getting based on your outcomes. All right. And the next tip, you have to be patient. Patient. You know what they say? The patient dog eats the fattest bone. All right. So vibe coding undoubtedly speeds up the app building process, but you won't get exactly what you're looking for on the first try, or maybe even the 100. Now, this is very, very, very important. I'm not saying vibe coding it's going to be all that, it's just going to be milk and honey. No, no. You're going to get your errors. You're going to get troubles. You're not just going to send in your prompt on a first go and get a perfect result. No, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. When you're vibe coding, you have to be patient, because, of course, you might be thinking about something in your head. You send in the prompt, you get a result, and then you realize along the way, oh, that's not what I was looking for. You have to refine your process again. You have to refine your prompts again, send it in, Maybe that's not even the results you're getting is not even what you were still looking for. You have to refine it again, send it in. You can do that over and over and over and over again. It's not all that easy. It's not all that easy. Remember, you're not just communicating with a human like you, it is a robot. I always say this, a robot will always remain a robot. A robot will always remain a robot. So you have to be patient when you're vibe coding. Do not expect that. I mean, it's an AI. It's just going to be that easy. I mean, if I just give you what I want, or if I just tell you what I want, boom, 2 seconds, I get a perfect result. No, you have to continuously be refining your prompts. All right. Now, we've been talking a lot about prompts. And by now, you should have realized that vibe coding is all about working with prompts. It's all about working with prompts. Now, what is a prompt? I would say an easy way to define a prompt is just like a conversation starter. It's just like a conversation starter. For example, if you were communicating with someone, you would probably, if you wanted to ask a question, if you're communicating with someone, you probably ask a question, you get a response, ask a question, you get a response. So it's more or less kind of like a conversation between you and the robot. And the prompt is actually the input that you send in, and then the output is what you get as the result. Okay. Now, how to write effective AI prompts. So by now you must have realized that vibe coding is all about prompting. The first thing, you want to tell it exactly what you want. What do you mean tell it? Your AI, the AI tool that you're using. You want to tell it exactly what you want. Now, if you wanted to build a project, for example, or let me say you wanted to build a project. For example, you're a developer and a client comes and the client wants you to create something for he or she. The client is going to tell you exactly what you want, what he or she wants. Now, at that point, you, the developer, you're acting like the AI, and the client at that point is, let me say, uh, um you the developer probably. So now the position is kind of like interswitch. So the developer, for example, the client is telling the developer, hey, I want this, I want that, I want that, and then the developer sends in the output. So the client will say, okay, this is what I want. Probably I want a design that is for my layout, I want pink colors, I want blue colors, or it's really being specific. It's telling the client is telling the developer what exactly they want. It's the same like when you're working with an AI tool. You have to tell it exactly what you want. Do not assume. Do not assume that, I mean, it's an AI, is smart, it's just going to give me. No, you have to tell it exactly what you want. You tell it, hey, at this level, this is what I want. Or for if you're building a project, you have to really be specific. You really have to be specific. Tell it exactly what you want for you to get the results that you're looking for. The next tip, you want to include helpful information upfront. Now, this is very important. For example, recently I was working on a project. I was working on a project for the company that I work for, and I was working on a Python project. So we were struggling to create monitoring for some of our sites and servers on Grafana, and I was using an AI tool for that. So in this case, you want to tell it, for example, hey, probably you want to connect to a database to collect information, or to collect, you know, what you'll be needing. You want to tell it, okay, for this project, you don't want to say, I will just, for example, you don't want to say, I'm working on a project. or probably write me a code that is going to write. I need a script that is going to connect to the database, get me this information, blah blah blah, put it here or no. You want to give it some helpful information like, hey, look, I want to connect to the database, and the database that I'm using probably is MySQL or Postgre. You have to tell it that important information upfront. You don't just say, I want to connect to a database, for example. No, you tell it, I want to, for this project, I'm using MySQL database or a Postgre database. So you give it that helpful information upfront, because if you do not give those information, the AI is going to provide you with what it thinks. It's just going to provide you with what it thinks. So you have to actually give it some helpful information to help get the best results that you're looking for. Next tip, you want to give it examples. Of course, the best way someone might understand you, even when you're communicating, even with people, is giving examples. It's always good to give the AI examples. Provide it with some examples. Hey, look, I'm working on this project, and at this level, I want it to be like this. Example, even you can even use images. Now, depending on what AI tool you're using, you can even use images to describe. Give it examples so you get the best results that you're looking for. Next, provide feedback. Provide feedback. You're communicating with an AI, and communication is all about, you know, you give an information and you want to make sure that the person that you give that information, the person actually understands. The person actually understands. And when you're working with an AI, for example, you're working on a project, you're working on a project, you tell it, hey, I'm working on this project. Can you please create me a script? Blah, 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 that does this, that does that. The AI gives you the code. You take that code, you run it. If it's not working well, you get back to the AI. Hey, this is not working well at this point. This is not working well at this point. This is not working well at this point. Or hey, this was working well. This was working well. Or maybe this was working well, but I need a little tweak at this level. So that feedback is very, very important, and it's also going to make your life easy, and you're also going to get the results that you were looking for. So feedback is very, very important. So not just say, I mean, it's just a robot, why will I be giving you feedback? Even if, because of course, if you're getting a bad feedback, if you ask it to give you to write you uh, a code, it gives you the code. If it does not work, you definitely go back and tell it, hey, this your code is not working. This your code is not working. But even if it works, I mean, I think courtesy also demands that you go back and tell it, hey, this is working. I communicate with AIs like I'm communicating with a human being. I usually have this smooth, nice. Sometimes, if you see me chatting with an AI, you think I'm probably discussing with a friend or something. It's important. It's actually very important. The next thing, you want to build. Now, this is also a very important tip. You want to build upon your existing prompts. Now, AIs, they have these uh they have this tendency to, so they can actually remember. So if you were working on a project, if you're working on a project, since you're communicating, it just seems like with us, if you're chatting with someone, you chat to someone today, tomorrow you chat with the person, the next day you chat with the person, the following day you can still come back and say, hey, what we were discussing this day, what we were discussing this day, concerning this topic or concerning this issue is the same an AI. If you're working on a project and you had given it your prompts, you can always go back and discuss on that prompt. They have that ability to remember. They have that ability to remember. So maybe you were working on a project today with your AI, you've given it the prompts, it has given you the codes, and everything is working. And then sometime maybe um a day or two after, you thought of something that you want to improve about it, you can always go back to your AI and tell it, hey, this project that we were working on, I want this to be improved at this level. I want this to be improved at this level. So they have the ability to remember. You can always go back and tell it, hey, make a change here, make a change here, make a change here. So that's also one very important thing. All right. Now, I'm not even going to lie. In as much as vibe coding is good, it has its own limitation. It can make life easy for you, as well as it can make life a living hell for you. Let's look at some few limitations of vibe coding. I see some new persons have joined. You guys are welcome. All right. What are some of the limitations of vibe coding? First, security vulnerabilities. AI models may not inherently understand security best practices, leading to vulnerabilities, insecure authentication, and exposure of sensitive data. Of course, the exposure of sensitive data is one very, very important aspect. One very, very important aspect. Now, if you're just communicating with an I mean, I would say dumbly, you can actually put your systems at risk because you're exposing sensitive data. For example, if you're working on a project and then the AI gives you a code. For example, if you were to connect to a system or authentications and all that, the AI provides you the code, you edit that code, you put in some important logins or even some important information in your project. When you're going back to refining, or maybe it wasn't working the way you wanted it, you might be tempted to copy important aspects. You might be tempted to copy a section of your code that has important data to send it to the AI and tell it, hey, this is not working. I tried this, is not working. This is breaking at this point, or this is not a output that I was expecting. Giving it, you're actually giving it access to sensitive data, and that is something that it's a very, 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 very big disadvantage. Very, very big disadvantage. Remember, you're working on a project, you send in your prompts, the AI gives you the code, you take that code, you test it. For example, if you were to connect to a database or something, the AI is going to give you the code without the logins to that database. You take the code, you edit it, you put in your logins, you run the code, it's not working. The tendency is that you might want to copy your own code, which has your logins, and sending it to the AI and tell it, hey, because of course you're not really excuse me, you want to be very specific, you really want to be clear, you want to tell it what is happening at one time. The tendency is that you might be tempted to copy a section of your code that has even your logins to your system and send it into the AI and telling, hey, this is not working, what is happening here. That is you already putting your systems at risk. That is you already putting your systems at risk. So it is a very, very big threat to security. All right, the next one is skill erosion and over reliance. Over reliance on AI tools can lead to a decline in developer skills and understanding, undermining the ability to effectively maintain, debug, and enhance software. Of course, if you are so dependent on AI tools, it can decline your development skills. You find yourself, because the truth is when you find that something is easy, you tend to always want to do it. You tend to always want to do it, just like they say, practice makes perfect. If you were someone that is always coding every day, if you were someone that is always coding every day, you get better at coding. If you were someone that is dependent on an AI tool, you not want to even go back. You just be wanting to get better at it. At the end of the day, you see that you're declining in your development skills, and which is not a good thing, because you'll be solely dependent on AI tools for your projects, for coding, and all the like. So this is a very, very big disadvantage, because of course everybody loves the soft life, everybody loves the easy life. You just want to get, I mean, if you find a way to do something easier, you'd always turn to go back to that thing to do it. So this is one very big disadvantage of using AI for coding. It's a very, very big disadvantage, a very, very big disadvantage. So in as much as you want to turn to it for help, you also want to be working on your skills. You also want to be working on your skills. Yeah, there are times when you might have a very big project to work on. You can break it into different sections. You can work on a certain section with your AI, and then work on the other part of your you can work on the other part by yourself. I mean, just to create the balance. It's not good to be solely dependent on it. Now, one other limitation is difficulty debugging. If you understand the code your AI is generating, this may not apply to you, of course. But if you don't understand code, you'd have a hard time identifying and resolving any coding errors. You could ask the AI to do this, but even then, there is no guarantee it would catch everyone. Now, just like I said, if you understand the code your AI is generating,